What you're about to see is a courtroom moment that could only exist in a nightmare scenario. A false accusation against a female police officer that almost destroyed her career. It all starts with a drunk driver facing a DUI charge who makes the catastrophic, career-ending mistake of claiming sexual assault during a routine sobriety test. What follows doesn't just expose the lie. It lays bare how devastating false accusations can be and why body cameras are the thin line between truth and total ruin. This isn't just a courtroom drama. It's a cautionary tale about someone weaponizing the Me Too movement to dodge accountability. When a drunk driver confuses judicial compassion for weakness, and when one false claim can instantly escalate a misdemeanor to felony, the results are explosive. But before we dive into this high-stakes clash between lies and irrefutable evidence, here's a reality check. Less than 2% of you watching are actually subscribed. Hit that button. This story about false accusations and the unshakable power of body cam footage deserves to reach everyone who needs to see why a lie about sexual misconduct makes it harder for real victims to be believed. It's a Friday night in early November, and Providence Municipal Court is running a special evening session to handle DUI arrests from the night before. The room carries a different energy than daytime court. Defendants are exhausted, hungover, anxious. A DUI isn't just a fine. It carries license suspensions, potential jail time, mandatory classes, and a permanent criminal record. At 7:15 p.m. sharp, the bailiff calls the next case, Christine Morgan DUI. Through the courtroom doors walks Christine Morgan, 29, a marketing consultant. Even 18 hours after her arrest, she looks disheveled, her expensive blouse wrinkled, her composure fragile, the tension around her palpable. Her blouse is wrinkled, her makeup streaked, and her designer handbag hangs awkwardly from her shoulder. But it's her presence that strikes first, a calculated, defiant energy, not the shame or remorse most DUI defendants carry. There's a sharpness in her gaze, a precision in her steps, like someone still a little unsteady from last night's indulgence, yet fully aware of the theater she's about to perform. Judge Caprio looks up from his paperwork with the practiced gaze of a man who's seen hundreds of DUI defendants cross the same threshold. Within seconds, he can usually tell whether someone will accept responsibility or try to spin a story. Christine Morgan, he begins, his voice steady, authoritative, honed by 35 years on the bench. You're charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol. This arrest occurred last night at approximately 11:45 p.m. on Westminster Street. How do you plead? Her reply is instant, dripping with a manufactured edge of victimhood that sets off silent alarms for anyone familiar with false accusations. Not guilty, Your Honor. And I need to tell you, what happened last night was completely inappropriate. The arresting officer violated me. Caprio sets down his pen, a small, almost imperceptible gesture that signals a storm is about to break. Miss Morgan, that's a serious allegation. Can you explain what you mean by violated? She inhales, steadying herself as if she's delivered this speech 100 times in her mind. Your Honor, Officer Sarah Mitchell performed a field sobriety test on me. During that test, she touched me inappropriately. She put her hands on my body in ways that were unnecessary and made me extremely uncomfortable. This was sexual assault disguised as police procedure. The courtroom drops into a stunned silence. This is no ordinary DUI hearing. It's an accusation that could shatter a career, reputation, and life. Judge Caprio's expression hardens. Miss Morgan, you're accusing Officer Mitchell of sexual assault during a field sobriety test? Yes, Your Honor. I was already upset about being pulled over. I'd only had 2 glasses of wine with dinner, but when she started touching me, I felt violated. I felt like she was using her authority to assault me. At the back of the courtroom, Officer Sarah Mitchell has been waiting quietly, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the tension in the room. A 34-year-old veteran with 12 years of impeccable service, her reputation is untouchable until now. Her face pales at the accusation. She rises, voice firm but controlled. Your Honor, that is absolutely false. I conducted a standard field sobriety test, exactly as I've been trained. Judge Caprio raises a hand, commanding order. Officer Mitchell, I'll hear from you in a moment. Please be seated. Officer Mitchell sits, visibly shaken, but obedient to the judge's command. Judge Caprio turns his full attention back to Christine. Miss Morgan, this is an extremely serious accusation. Sexual assault is a felony. If what you're claiming is true, Officer Mitchell could face criminal charges, lose her job, and even end up on a sex offender registry. Do you understand the gravity of what you're saying? Yes, Your Honor. I understand completely, and I'm telling you exactly what happened. I felt violated. As a woman, I know when another woman crosses a line. Quick pause for context. If you believe false accusations destroy innocent lives and make it harder for real victims to be believed, hit subscribe. These stories need to be seen. Caprio leans forward, intensity in his gaze. Ms. Morgan, I want you to tell me everything. Start from the moment Officer Mitchell pulled you over. Every detail. Christine exhales, stepping into her rehearsed narrative. I was driving home from a business dinner with clients. We had wine, but I wasn't drunk. I was completely fine to drive. Officer Mitchell pulled me over on Westminster Street. The moment she approached my window, she accused me of being intoxicated. Why did she pull you over? Caprio asks. She said I crossed the center line, but I don't remember doing that. I was driving normally. Did she claim you crossed a line? Yes, Your Honor, but I think she was profiling me. Maybe she saw a woman alone in a nice car and assumed I'd been drinking. Caprio scribbles a note, then gestures for her to continue. What happened next? She asked me to step out. When I did, she said she smelled alcohol. I told her the truth. I'd had 2 glasses of wine. That's not illegal. You're correct. 2 glasses isn't illegal if you're under the limit. And then she said she needed to perform field sobriety tests. That's when everything got inappropriate. Caprio's expression remains neutral, yet expectant. Be very specific, Miss Morgan. Describe exactly what happened during these tests. Christine inhales, delivering the accusation with chilling precision. She had me do the walking test. As I walked, she put her hands on my hips, on my waist. It felt invasive. Then, during the one-leg stand, she touched my shoulders and arms. It was excessive, unnecessary. And the worst part, during the horizontal gaze test, she stood so close that her body nearly touched mine. I could feel her breath on my face. It was sexual, intrusive. The courtroom falls into tense silence. Every eye is on Judge Caprio, waiting to see how he will respond to this explosive claim. Did you tell Officer Mitchell you were uncomfortable? I tried, Your Honor. I said, do you have to touch me like that? She said it was part of the procedure. But I've seen police shows. I know what field sobriety tests are. She didn't have to touch me that much. Caprio makes thorough notes. And after the tests, she arrested me, said I failed, and was taking me to the station for a breathalyzer. When I took it, it showed I was over the limit. But I believe that test was wrong. I wasn't drunk. And even if it was accurate, that doesn't excuse Officer Mitchell's behavior. She used her authority to assault me. What was your breathalyzer result? 12. But I don't trust it, Your Honor. Caprio's eyebrows rise slightly. 12? That's well over the legal limit of 0.08. I know, Your Honor, but I didn't feel drunk. Maybe the machine was broken. So you believe the breathalyzer was malfunctioning? Yes, Your Honor. Something was wrong. I definitely wasn't that impaired. Did you request a second test? No, Your Honor. I was too upset by Officer Mitchell's conduct. I just want to go home. Caprio turns toward the back of the courtroom. Officer Mitchell, please approach. The officer rises, moving to the front with the rigid posture of someone whose entire career is now under fire. Her anger simmers beneath controlled composure. Her hands tremble slightly. Officer Mitchell, Caprio says, voice steady. You've heard Miss Morgan's accusations. I need you to give me your version of events. Officer Mitchell's voice is steady, even as tension radiates from her posture. Your Honor, I've been a police officer for 12 years and have administered hundreds of field sobriety tests. I have never, not once, touched anyone inappropriately. What Ms. Morgan is describing is a complete fabrication. Judge Caprio nods for her to continue. I was on patrol on Westminster Street last night, around 11:45 p.m. She begins, her tone calm, precise. I observed a black Mercedes weaving between lanes, crossing the center line twice over a 2-block stretch. That's a clear indicator of possible impaired driving. I activated my lights and conducted a traffic stop. When I approached the driver's side window, I immediately detected a strong odor of alcohol. Her eyes were bloodshot and glassy, her speech slightly slurred. When I asked if she'd been drinking, she admitted to 2 glasses of wine. But based on her physical signs and the smell, I suspected she consumed significantly more. Caprio makes a note, prompting her to continue. I asked her to step out to perform standardized field sobriety tests. These are conducted exactly according to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration protocols. First, the walk-in turn test. The subject walks heel to toe along a straight line, turns, and walks back. She lost her balance multiple times, stepped off the line, and used her arms for balance when instructed not to. At no point did I touch her. I stood several feet away, observing. The test is designed to assess her balance and ability to follow instructions independently. What about the second test? The one-leg stand. She could barely maintain her balance for 3 seconds before putting her foot down. She swayed dramatically. Again, I did not touch her. I stood about 4 feet away, as protocol requires. And the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. The HGN test involves holding a small object or pen about 12 to 15 inches from the subject's nose while they follow it with their eyes. I stood at arm's length, exactly as trained. I never came close to her body. I was conducting a standardized test I've performed hundreds of times. Caprio glances between Christine and Officer Mitchell. One story is true, one is false. Officer Mitchell, what were the results? The defendant displayed multiple indicators of impairment on all 3 tests. Combined with the odor of alcohol, bloodshot eyes, and her admission of drinking, I had probable cause for DUI arrest. I transported her to the station, where she voluntarily submitted to a breathalyzer. Result: 0.12, significantly over the legal limit of 0.08. And yes, Your Honor, my body camera was activated for the entire traffic stop. Per department policy, all Providence officers record their interactions, and this one is no exception. Christine's confident mask begins to crack. Officer Mitchell, if we review your body camera footage, what will we see? Caprio asks. You'll see exactly what I've described. A professional traffic stop, field sobriety test conducted according to protocol, and 0 inappropriate contact. I barely touched her at all. Caprio turns to Christine. Ms. Morgan, if the footage is reviewed, what will it show? Christine falters, the first hint of fear crossing her face. I didn't know she had a camera. Most officers do these days, Caprio replies. If your allegation were true, it would be on video, correct? I guess so, Your Honor, she mutters. I guess so. You made a very specific accusation. Hands on hips, shoulders, standing uncomfortably close. If that happened, it would be recorded. Correct. Yes, Your Honor, she whispers. Caprio orders the footage to be pulled. Prosecutor, can you have it ready? 10 minutes, Your Honor. The prosecutor responds. The courtroom holds its collective breath. Christine's confidence is gone. She fidgets, staring at her hands. Officer Mitchell stands tall, vindicated yet visibly shaken. 10 minutes later, the footage plays on the courtroom monitors. The video opens with Officer Mitchell in her patrol car, documenting the weaving Mercedes. She initiates the stop, approaches professionally, and greets Christine clearly. Christine's eyes are glassy, speech slurred. Good evening, ma'am. Officer Mitchell, Providence Police. I observed your vehicle crossing the center line. Have you been drinking? Christine responds, slurred. Just 2 glasses of wine. I'm fine to drive. The footage shows her struggling slightly to exit the car. Mitchell maintains distance, then demonstrates the walk-in turn test. Christine attempts it, immediately stepping off the line, losing balance, waving her arms. Officer Mitchell never touches her. Next, the one-leg stand. Christine sways dramatically, cannot hold her leg for more than a few seconds. Again, Mitchell stands several feet away. Finally, horizontal gaze, nystagmus. Mitchell holds a pen at protocol distance. Christine's eyes display clear involuntary nystagmus. Mitchell remains professional throughout. No touching, no invasion of space. The footage ends. Silence blankets the courtroom. Christine's accusation is obliterated by objective evidence. Judge Caprio's gaze is sharp. Miss Morgan, we just watched the entire traffic stop. At no point did Officer Mitchell touch you inappropriately or invade your personal space. Do you have an explanation? Christine's face reddens. Tears form. Tears of fear and humiliation, not remorse. Your Honor, I thought maybe. You didn't think maybe anything, Miss Morgan. You lied. You made a calculated false accusation against a police officer. You targeted an officer who was simply doing her job professionally. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was confused. You weren't confused, Miss Morgan. You were drunk. The breathalyzer showed 0.12. That's not 2 glasses of wine. That's significant impairment. And when you realized you were facing serious DUI consequences, you decided to avoid them by attempting to destroy Officer Mitchell's career and reputation with a false sexual assault allegation. Judge Caprio rises, the full weight of his authority filling the courtroom. Ms. Morgan, do you understand what you've done? Do you realize that false accusations like yours make it harder for real victims of sexual assault to be believed? You were willing to put Officer Mitchell on a sex offender registry, ruin her career, and destroy her life, all to dodge a DUI charge. Christine's tears now flow freely, but Caprio is not finished. Officer Mitchell has served this community for 12 years. Her record is spotless. She has a family, and you were willing to accuse her of one of the gravest crimes imaginable because you got drunk, drove a car, got caught, and didn't want to face the consequences. Turning to Officer Mitchell, Caprio continues, Officer, I apologize on behalf of this court. The body camera footage clearly shows you acted with complete professionalism. Your integrity is intact. Mitchell nods, tears glistening in her eyes. The emotional toll of being falsely accused is written across her face. She gathers herself, then addresses Christine directly. Do you know what you almost did to me? I have a daughter. I coach her softball team. If your accusation had succeeded, I would never have been allowed near children again. I would have lost my job, my reputation, everything I've worked for. And you were willing to do that because you didn't want a DUI on your record. The courtroom goes silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Caprio returns to his seat, his voice measured but firm. Ms. Morgan, here's my ruling. On the DUI charge, based on the breathalyzer reading of 0.12 and your clear impairment on the field sobriety test, you are guilty. Standard penalties apply. License suspension, fines, mandatory alcohol education classes, and possible jail time. But that is not the end. You made a false accusation of sexual assault in this courtroom, a claim that is morally reprehensible and potentially criminal. I am adding a $2,500 penalty for making false statements to the court with intent to obstruct justice. Christine's eyes widen. Your total fine, including DUI penalties, is now $4,000. Your license is suspended for 6 months. You will complete 40 hours of community service with organizations supporting real victims of sexual assault to help you understand the damage false accusations cause. Additionally, I am referring your case to the Rhode Island Attorney General's office to determine if criminal charges for filing a false police report and attempting to obstruct justice are warranted. Christine interrupts, pleading, Your Honor, I didn't mean... You absolutely meant to. This was not confusion. This was a calculated decision to accuse Officer Mitchell of a heinous crime to avoid consequences for your own criminal behavior. Caprio's voice grows sharper. Real women are sexually assaulted by people in positions of authority. Real victims struggle to be believed because of liars like you. When you cry wolf, you make it harder for genuine victims to get justice. You will also write a formal public apology to Officer Mitchell, acknowledging that your accusation was completely false and that she acted with total professionalism. This apology will be published in the Providence Journal and become part of the permanent court record. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Christine whispers, "Miss Morgan, do you understand that what you did could have destroyed an innocent woman's life? That body camera footage is the only reason Officer Mitchell is not under criminal investigation right now." "Yes, Your Honor. I'm so sorry. Your apology means nothing if you do not understand the gravity of your actions. You drove drunk, endangering everyone on the road. When caught, instead of taking responsibility, you try to destroy a police officer's career with a false sexual assault claim. That level of selfishness and moral bankruptcy is staggering. Let this be a lesson to everyone. False accusations are weapons. They destroy lives, careers, families, and make it exponentially harder for real victims to be believed." Caprio addresses the courtroom. "Miss Morgan, you have 30 days to pay your fines. Your license suspension begins immediately. Community service must be completed within 6 months. Your written apology to Officer Mitchell is due in 2 weeks. Non-compliance will result in additional contempt charges. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes, Your Honor." The gavel comes down with finality. Christine leaves humiliated, facing $4,000 in fines, 6 months without a license, a DUI conviction, community service, and a potential criminal investigation. Officer Mitchell leaves vindicated, but emotionally shaken at how close she came to having her life destroyed. As the courtroom empties, Judge Caprio sits alone, reflecting. His clerk quietly remarks, "Your Honor, that was intense. That woman almost destroyed Officer Mitchell's life. Without body camera footage, it would have been a he said, she said situation. This is exactly why body cameras are essential." 2 weeks later, Christine's public apology appears in the Providence Journal. To Officer Sarah Mitchell and the Providence Police Department, I, Christine Morgan, wish to publicly apologize for the false accusation I made against Officer Sarah Mitchell on the night of my DUI arrest. My claim that Officer Mitchell touched me inappropriately was completely untrue. Body camera footage clearly shows she conducted herself with complete professionalism, maintaining proper distance and following all protocols. I made this false accusation in a desperate attempt to avoid DUI consequences, and I understand it could have destroyed her career, reputation, and life. I am deeply ashamed and committed to completing community service with assault support organizations to understand the damage caused by false accusations. I hope my case serves as a warning to others that false accusations are dangerous weapons that destroy innocent lives. Sincerely, Christine Morgan. Officer Mitchell reads a letter at her kitchen table. Her 12-year-old daughter across from her. "Mom, are you okay?" "I'm okay, sweetie," Mitchell says, folding the newspaper. "That woman who lied about me, she apologized. Does that make it better?" Mitchell thinks for a moment. It helps. But you know what really makes it better? The truth. The video showed everyone what really happened. That's why truth matters most. Her daughter nods, absorbing the lesson. "I'm proud of you, Mom, for telling the truth, even when someone lied about you." Mitchell's eyes fill with tears, but she smiles. "Thanks, baby. That means everything." 6 months later, Christine completes her 40 hours of community service, working with sexual assault support organizations and hearing firsthand from real victims about the struggles of being believed, learning the human cost of false accusations. The experience leaves Christine with a perspective she never had before. On her final day at the organization, the director sits down with her. "Christine, you completed your hours, but I want to know, has this experience changed you?" Christine pauses, considering her answer carefully. "Yes, completely." Listening to these women, hearing how hard it is for them to be believed, understanding that my false accusation made their fight for justice even harder. I can't undo what I did, but I finally understand why it was so wrong. The director nods, eyes steady. "And what will you do with that understanding?" Christine looks around the room, her gaze settling on a wall covered with photos of survivors who've gone through the program. "I'll never lie again, ever. And if I ever hear someone making false accusations, I'll speak up. I've seen firsthand the damage it causes, not just to the person being accused, but to every real victim who deserves to be believed." "Good," the director says. "That's what we hope people learn here. Real change, real understanding." A year after her court appearance, Christine has rebuilt her life. She hasn't touched alcohol since that night. She attends AA meetings 3 times a week and volunteers regularly at the Assault Survivor Organization, where she completed her community service. She's paid every fine, completed every requirement, and, most importantly, the change is internal. She is a different person. Officer Mitchell continues her career with the Providence Police Department. The false accusation still casts a shadow sometimes, but it has also strengthened her resolve. She knows the power of professionalism and the life-saving role of body cameras. That footage didn't just protect her career. It became a testament to the truth, fueling her advocacy for universal body camera requirements across law enforcement. Moments like these show why truth matters more than convenience, why evidence can protect the innocent, and why lies have consequences. Subscribe to Judge Stories now to witness more moments when justice prevails, when false accusations are exposed, and when truth triumphs against deception.